Man, it is 20 degrees out here, Lake Guntersville. Feels like temperature is 8 to 9 degrees. We've got snow falling down.
It was 14 degrees yesterday morning when I woke up.
Water temp says 33.5. The water is extremely cold right now. Ice all over the lake and the creeks.
So the water is so cold, these shad are so shocked. Look at that, they're dying off. So when I picked up my serialized zip ties, there's no LiveScope.
Imagine if someone told you, hey dude, like you gotta drive from here home to New York, but you can't use Google Maps. You'd pull out that paper map in the car. You'd be like, what?
To be back and start an Elite Series tournament with especially no LiveScope, because that's like literally how I grew up fishing out here.
Brings us back to how I grew up fishing, where we're not relying on technology. Gosh, dude, look at the size of this joker. Need 5 of those and you win.
Dude, I should be getting bit. These bass are not liking 39, I promise. Got one. Oh, he came off. No!
Look, he doesn't want to fly. These fish are so cold.
I still think we're living in the Stone Age now, but let's roll.
Man, it is 20 degrees out here, Lake Guntersville. First morning of practice for the 2026 season, and it feels like temperature is 8 to 9 degrees. We've got snow falling down, and I'm a little slow to launch my boat here this morning, but I'm gonna be productive here. I'm gonna drink some coffee, I'm gonna watch this weather, and we're gonna log into the Deep Dive app and just kind of go over how my approach to practice is going to be. Okay, so here this week, the very first tournament, it's a non-forward facing sonar tournament. And I went to go pick up my serialized zip tie from Lisa, the tournament director, yesterday. And as I picked it up, she said, hey Chris, by the way, I looked over the Deep Dive app. Thank you guys for creating tournament mode, which hides features like best areas, the bait tool, things like that. It hides that from the tournament mode user. So in here in settings, I just go to tournament mode. I just turned it on here. What's really cool is it logs every time you enable tournament mode and every time you disable tournament mode. So you have proof that that information is hidden in case the tournament director asks for it. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off here because we are full go this week and going to the home page here. And right off the bat, I mean, looking at lake level here, Lake Guntersville is a foot low. It's 1.02 feet low, and that's kind of rare for Lake Guntersville. They keep it pretty steady, but in the past week, it's down 1/4 of a foot or so, but it's definitely on a downtrend. All right, so this is a big deal. I mean, obviously wintertime, the water's cold. Down on the lower end of the lake, this south end of the lake here is gonna be our clearest water, of course. That water is gonna stay the coolest, the longest, into March, into April. They typically spawn down there a little bit later. I know it's first week of February and it is really, really cold outside, but the fish are starting to think about spawning. The days are slowly starting to get a little bit longer. They know after this cold spell, they'll start thinking about spawning. So I know here in February, they're gonna be close to spawning areas. So looking at the water clarity map here, I'm gonna look for, big giant flats or the backs of creeks or things like that. But out off of that, more towards the main channel, just kind of that in-between area, and having that kind of mid-lake region right here with that mid-water clarity, that's gonna be a big, big player. So I wanna focus today on that kind of mid-lake region where it's not too clear, it's not too muddy and dirty. So we're talking cold water and just kind of a mid clarity is what I'm trying to target today. I'm gonna make a little bit of lunch and then we're gonna go head over the ramp here. This thing would have been absolutely dominated, top 10. All of them would have been scoping minnows if it was a scoping tournament. Now you're just gonna have to lock in and grind out a trap and chatterbait area. My eights in the hole is swim baits on bridges, so finding the right clarity is gonna be the big deal. So when I picked up my serialized zip ties for the lockbox for the LiveScope cord, I was like, man, they gave me 4 of them. So for 4 events this year, there's no LiveScope. And
guy I'm rooming with, younger guy, grew up with LiveScope. I asked him last night, I was like, man, does it mess with you that you don't have LiveScope? And he goes, absolutely, dude, I've been thinking about it. And I started thinking, like, almost half the field, like, well, 25% of the field, they rely on LiveScope, not just in a Guntersville tournament, but those events in Florida and those mud holes, Sabine River, that LiveScope always plays. And for Bass to take that away in 4 tournaments, it brings us back to how I grew up fishing, where we're not relying on technology to say, hey, cast right there. So, you know, going back to my roots, I'm actually excited for this tournament. Last year, you know, opening up in Florida, knowing like the guys were going to scope them because it's wintertime, and like I don't have that anxiety this year, especially for this first tournament. But for the 4 tournaments this year that have no scope, I have to rely on that Swimbait to give me that feedback. You know, if I'm bumping them or bumping rocks or whatever, you try a bunch of things don't work, and the things that do work, you expand on. And that's what pattern fishing and tournament fishing is all about, in my opinion. Feels like temperature right now is 8 degrees, and that feels right. Fingertips are just, I should have got hot hands. I got the wool socks, the boots, everything, but my fingertips are just blasted. This is Lake Guntersville, and they always bite on Lake Guntersville. I don't care what anyone says. It's gonna take 25 a day, watch. Dude, look, so immediately I just put the trolling motor down. So this is not good. Come check this out. Look at all these dying shad. So the water is so cold, these shad are so shocked. Look at that, they're dying off. Ice everywhere. It's like Minneapolis, dude, just freaking ice everywhere. All that dirty water's coming out of the back of that creek right there. Water clarity map showed that too, but with this weird northwest wind we had yesterday and today, I mean, it's blowing all that mud straight down the pipeline where those fish normally hang out. I could pick up a crankbait and like try doing that deal, fishing a little bit slower, but I just want to see things right now, and my hands are absolutely frozen, dude. Just gotta keep moving. Oh, dude, I broke my finger back a few years ago, dude, and it's like so cold right now. Down to the point I'm contemplating going to the truck real quick because my hands hurt. I'm seriously gonna warm these things up for a little bit, and then around that corner is out of the wind, and we'll grind there. All right, had to go to the truck and get some hot hands for my gloves. I broke my finger like 12, 15 years back, and like the arthritis or whatever it is, oh, it hurts so bad. I know I'm sounding like a little wuss right now, but dude, I've never felt pain like that ever. So I got some hot hands on my knuckles here, ready to get it on. All right, we're gonna fish this whole stretch right here. Looking at the water clarity map, this is like that perfect mid-range. I'm confirming here, not too clear, not too dirty. There's one. Oh, he came off. God, there's another one. Oh my God. Oh, oh yeah. Teeth marks all down it. Yeah, so boat was idling by and I got a bite on this hollow belly swimmer here. I didn't really set the hook on it. Right before that, I was like, man, this grass looks great. Essentially, like within a casting distance, I could see some really, really shallow grass just that far into the surface. And then there's just a big trough right here. We're off the main river here, so it's out of the main current. Water clarity is just perfect. I mean, there's like 2.5 foot of visibility, so it's that medium range. And it's just real clumpy grass with some nice holes. And I know this area gets pounded. I've jacked them up in this stretch in the fall and also in the early spring. You know, and they spawn back there. This is the goose pond area. They spawn in the back, but they'll hang out here in these holes. And so that's 3 bites total. One of them I lost on the chatterbait. Another one hit it, missed it, and then that one on the swim bait. So 3 bites so far. And they're not like really, really shallow. They're just in these little 4 or 5 foot holes. And that's so typical for this time of year. But this looks like phenomenal. This is like perfect. Gosh, dude. That freaking smoked it. It's a big one. That's a big fish. Alright, that's bite number 5. Looks like I'm gonna land this one. Look at the size of this joker. Look at that. Yes, sir. I knew I was gonna get a bite through here, right on my waypoint. Hollow belly swimmer, nice and subtle, but hard hitting. So like a lot of people forgot about the hollow belly swimmer, but I haven't, especially in cold water. 42 degrees, something real small that hits hard. That's a 5-pounder. Heck yeah, here we go. Right at the start of those waypoints. That's a beauty. Just need 5 of those and you win. Right at the start of those waypoints. Like I said, it's like a shallow flat. And I marked this ditch years and years ago. I caught them really good in the fall. And then the next spring I came, caught them real good on the swim bait. So right at the start, I mean, it's almost not worth going through the rest of it, but we might just get out of here. The 7-inch. Gosh, these fish are cold as ice. I think we're done with this stretch. I just need to stop setting the hook on this stretch here. 3-pounder. All right, we've had the trolling motor down for, I don't know, 2 hours. We worked a maybe mile-long stretch through some old waypoints. I think I had 6 bites total, landed 2. So not too bad. I mean, for 41-degree water temperatures, I decided forget about the traps and the chatterbaits that everyone else is throwing. I went old school swim baits on them. So let's run with that for a while. Using that water clarity map, just keying on that specific clarity right there. It's about 2 feet, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, 3.5 is going to be too clear, and a foot of visibility is going to be too muddy. But we're going to stay in that 2 foot visibility or so. I'm going to pull up the map now and just kind of work through this midsection. All right, as this motor's warming up here, going to the next spot, I'm gonna pull up the app here. And what's crazy, I noticed I'm on a big flat, and all of a sudden I hit the main river channel. And about 50 yards ago, I noticed this current sweeping across. And here we are. I mean, looking at the generation releases, I mean, there's still 2 generators running above, and then 2 below. And we're about mid-lake, so we're right in the middle. We've got water coming down and water being released, and it shows right here. I mean, that current is ripping by. The bites I had were about 200 to 300 yards off of that current on a flat there. So I'm just gonna take a look at the water clarity map. And yep, I'm right in that kind of mid version. I'm gonna pull up the filter right now. And so where I'm at exactly is about right there. So it's that dark green hue. So that's perfect. So now I could take this with the filter and I can go up the river a little bit. There's a backwater area with the exact same water clarity. And then over the next 4 to 5 miles, that whole stretch of river is the same water clarity. So I'm just gonna skip this next section here because it gets clear, and then go to the next section with this same clarity. All right, it's about 4 o'clock. Clouds came in, it got kind of depressing, it got cold. But I've got to work on my 360. My 360 is not matching up to my Humminbird there, so I got to go to the service yard and have things looked at. But 6 bites total today. Landed 2 of them. You know, I halfway set the hook on the other 4, but you know, water temperature, you know, it's 42.5, so it rose 2.5 degrees. So water temperatures in the 40s in the south. Kind of tough, but we stayed in just that mid water clarity. I'm in clear water right now, and I haven't had a bite up in this stretch. So tomorrow I'm going to focus on that mid lake, stay in the grass, throw the red traps, throw the red crankbaits, throw the swim bait, and stay in that water clarity. That was a huge deal for me today. As soon as I ventured out of that mid lake, mid clarity zone, I got less bites. So we're definitely going to concentrate on that zone over there. But all in all, not a bad day for 42-degree weather and 20-degree air temperature.
Literally, I'm like, all right, this is it. Like, this is the spot. I get there, I'm like, put the 12 minute out for the first time, everything's good. Brand new chatterbait, I fire it out there, snaps. Oh, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's just take a seat here.
Yeah. Nothing works. Your rods don't work, your reels don't work, nothing works. Then you reel it up all the way and you try to get the grass off and you try to let the thing fall off the rod tip, but it doesn't fall off, so you're like, it's
dude, this
so bad.
This is it, all day.
So bad.
I had to film it because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm literally producing ice. I feel like I'm grating cheese. Holy smokes. Welcome to my casa at Guntersville. Just kidding, it's not mine. Just woke up. Day 2 of practice is about to be underway here. First Elite Series event of the year. And it's a brutal one. It was 14 degrees yesterday morning when I woke up. Today is gonna be a little bit better, like 27 with a high of like 40. So today's a very important practice day. I need to really kind of hone in today, either a general area where I'm gonna fish or an area where I'm certainly not gonna fish, and then make sure day 3 is super productive in an area I think I'm gonna catch up. I just opened up the Deep Dive app, and so I'm launching right here, right by Buck Island Shores, actually right where we're staying. And what's the biggest thing is gonna be wind effects. I want some areas that aren't gonna be as cold. I think having the wind turning that water over, it can be good at times, but I don't think I'm gonna focus on areas that have been pounded with wind. I kind of want to stay on the lee side of that. So I'm going to be fishing Browns here, the creek next to it. I've never been here, so this is all new. I'm going to be fishing this side of that arm. I'm ready to go. I hope I can catch fish, dude. Not having the scope yesterday, I was telling Trey, I found myself, I would see something on my 360 and I would like pan over there and fire the cast as if I was still like looking. It's weird, dude. And you guys can all make fun of me and be like, oh, I can't catch them unless you have a scope. That's not true. But if you've been using something, a technology for 3 years, imagine if someone just told you, hey, dude, like you got to drive from here home to New York, but you can't use Google Maps. You pull out that paper map in the car. You'd be like, what? It's the same thing. Not that we can't do it, but you just need to relearn certain things that you already know, but you haven't used in a long time. And Deep Dive is very helpful with that too. Like there's things that you kind of have just forgotten about, which is kind of a challenge and kind of cool. And that's why I kind of like it. I still think we're living in the Stone Age now, but let's roll.
quite a beast, buddy. Does it? I couldn't possibly smell good.
Not the slightest.
Yeah, so, I mean, dude, look, at this point, I'm not gonna hide it. Like, I like forward-facing sonar. I think people know that. But I will say this, bass fishing's bass fishing. And I think it's cool that we don't have it. But that's not to say it doesn't present a major challenge for me, and I think a lot of the guys that have gotten really used to it over the years. It's a mental hurdle, but I gotta tell you, I think it's gonna make me a better angler. I still am not on board with limiting technology in the sport. I'm not okay with that. But like I said, I think it'll make me a better angler. I think it'll make for a way more interesting season than we've had in the last 2 years. That's my stance on it, and I think I'm still gonna catch them. But I might not, too, and then, so don't make fun of me if I don't catch them. Dude, I should be getting bit. These bass are not liking 39, I promise. The shad are just like, yeah, you know, it's fine when a bass eats me, but when the water temp's 39 and I just immediately die, that's not cool. Dude, there's no way they're not in here, you know? Like, I just know. I know they're in here. Now, they might all be in like one spot. Golly, this is the best looking grass I've seen the whole time I've been here. Got one. Oh, he came off. No. Okay. All right. Today, what I'm doing is I start basically at the line. I create a mental line of like, I don't want to go past here. Like, I don't want to fish any further down from right here. So basically I'm gonna fish here to the ramp. And that way I kind of get a sense of like categorization. Oh boy, that's a mouthful. An A spot versus a B spot versus a C spot. And I just break it down basically from the furthest point I want to go back to the ramp. I mean, that's just how I do it. It's easy for me to like kind of comprehend the way the lake lays out that way. Like starting at the last spot and moving to the ramp. That's just a little trick I do. Trying to just cut the lake basically in half. £1 maybe? Oh yeah, I got one. Yeah! Dude, that's like a, what, 2-pounder? That's gotta be 15. What's gone through my head? For the longest time, nothing. And then I did find like a little deal, like one little spot where there were fish. Like I caught two. Well, actually, caught three. It just kind of clued me in on like where they might be in other areas. And if nothing else, it gave me some confidence. Looking at the deep dive app with all the current coming through here, it was on the back side. It had a little depression there. So I'm gonna try to, for the next like 3-4 hours, try to run more stuff like that. But I'm gonna stay in this area and kind of pick it apart just to see if there isn't, you know, some more, you know, general zones that I can get bit within this, you know, 1 mile radius.
practice day. Lost an absolute giant at the end of the day. Broke me off, man. Couldn't even stop it.
Good morning, y'all. We are at Lake Guntersville for the first tournament of the year, Bassmaster Elite Series tournament. It's crazy to think another year. You know, this is my 10th or 11th year fishing since 2015. Man, it goes by so quick. You gotta really enjoy the moments. You know, I've grew up fishing this lake too, which is really cool. You know, my first tournaments were out here on Guntersville Lake. So it's pretty cool to be back and start an Elite Series tournament with especially no LiveScope, because that's like literally how I grew up fishing out here. And I enjoy fishing like that. You know, it's fun. That doesn't mean it's easy. And this week it's definitely mega challenging. Water temp says 33.5. The water is extremely cold right now. Ice all over the, you know, lake and the creeks. I'm not the best cold water fisherman, but just getting a little confidence to be like, okay, this is kind of where you need to be, this area, and just really fish hard. So one thing I've been doing like every night, every morning, is I'm looking at the Deep Dive app and I'm checking out what the conditions are going to be for that day. It's changed every day. You know, one thing that I think is really slept on is the water clarity, which this gets updated pretty often. This was 2 days ago. It's really accurate. You know, I was surprised by this, of how accurate this was. Because like right now, for instance, I've been kind of all over the lake, and the dirtiest water that I've seen has been in North Saudi. And it's also had ice in there too. But this creek usually has some color to it, but right now it's really dirty. And you can tell on the Deep Dive app, that green is basically saying heavily stained. And you see a lot of these areas that aren't. You go up the lake and you see it's clear, and you get up here in the Mud Creek and that's dirtier. So that saves you a lot of time. Like, I know mud's typically got some color in it, but you know, being able to get on here, especially a lake you're unfamiliar with, and look at the water clarity can be a big advantage, and really just save you a lot of time. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed using. I'll show you another thing that saves you a lot of time. Instead of going to different apps, I'd have to go to TVA to find, you know, the current water level, and a lot of lakes don't have that available. Anyway, this is updated like by the second, it seems like. And you can really get a good visual of the water level and what it's doing. And on these shallow lakes like Guntersville, water level can really be important, even in the winter time. But it doesn't matter what lake you're fishing. Like, to have this at your fingertips where you can get all those, like, that's pretty invaluable. So I look at it every day and night before the tournament, just to kind of see what's going on the lake when you're not there. That's what we got. Those are the conditions we got. Cold, frigid conditions out here, but you always got to use technology to your advantage. And that's what we're doing. We'll see what today brings. Look at that. It was sitting down there on the bottom. That shows you how they don't want to bite. The first one I caught, my bait was sitting on the bottom, and he bit it. I've never had that happen before. Y'all saw that. I mean, that was crazy. Big. It's a bite though. Just coming in sideways. Look, he don't even want to fight. These fish are so cold. I mean, he just was doing a circle, a backflip coming back in. He's got red lips. It's 2 bites though. None of us been small. Just give you a little confidence no matter how big they are right now, because you know you're doing something right just to get big.
out kind of where they're at. Not a bad one. 4 pounds. Using my brain more today. Just some days I just don't got it. Some days I do. That's the kind of one. The kind of one right there, baby. There's my leg. Go fish this spot. What do you think? Trapping. Cold water trap. Just pull it. Back to the ramp. I'm sitting here debating on whether I want to take out and try some different stuff, because I fished most of the time up here, up the lake, and you know, it's been pretty slow overall, like especially the last 3 hours or so with it just getting slick and sunny. So I've just been, you know, just trying to think like past areas that have been good to me that I haven't, you know, got to fish yet. But I feel like the main lake stuff, just in my experience, is like better early. You can get bit and then, you know, it can really slack up. So I don't know, it's just glass calm. So I'm like, man, I need to kind of, you know, make something happen. I don't really want to just die fishing.